Guys, little backstory here. We've restored over 4,000 vintage motorcycles. Almost unanimously, they all have carburetors. Some of them 4 carburetors like this, some of them 6. And if you know what you're looking at here, it's no easy task to rebuild these. So we've always tried to use a little preventative maintenance and run with a fuel. The pump gas, frankly, the ethanol pump gas will clog up these carburetors in 6 months, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 30 days, depending on how much ethanol fuel is in it and the kind of environment it's in. If it's in a wet environment, they will clog up. We've been using mostly, well, Jeff had a couple solutions. There was a place up in Mass we were buying ethanol free from the pump, but it was too difficult to drive up there and get a 50-gallon drum. Actually, it was New Hampshire. Is that correct, Jeff?
New Hampshire, yes.
So what we did is we started using VP, and they had some issues with the supplies of the VP that we're getting previously, so we switched to, what was it, 110?
Yes.
And we've run that 110 in quite a few bikes, and Jeff sent up a red flag about a month ago. The 110, if you leave it in the carburetors, it shrinks the gaskets and it shrinks the seals. And Jeff did a little examination here, and what we did is we tested VP small engine fuel, which is now back in stock. So this is just a warning to you guys out there. If you're using 110 in vintage bikes, you need to understand something here. You don't even need the micrometer to see it. You can visibly see that the fuel had shrunk the seal. And the 110 is doing that. This VP small engine fuel on your right, which is designed for protect vintage motors, you can see obviously swelled the seal.
It swelled the seal, so we won't have any issues of shrinkage and fuel leaking. So this is what we want, something that keeps the rubber big and swelled up. So the VP actually shrunk it. So
why did this shrink it, Jeff?
Well, these fuels are made up of all kinds of chemicals. You know, they're not petroleum based, and whatever the VP is made up of, it shrinks the rubber.
The VP 110, right?
Yeah.
But the small engine fuel from VP
fuel, they designed it to keep things swelled up, so you don't have any issues when it sits for like your chainsaw, your week. You know, if you don't use something for a year.
Your vintage motorcycle, in this case.
Yeah.
So when would you want to use the 110?
Well, I mean, it's great race gas if you're using it all the time, you know.
But you'd want to even then drain it out of your carburetor, right?
Yeah, you don't want it to sit in the.
Run the tank dry. I mean, actually you want to run the tank dry because it can screw up the petcock gaskets, right, and seals too.
Yeah, it ruins the petcock.
So that's a problem we've had, and Jeff identified this issue how long ago?
Well, I started talking about this last year, but now we didn't have this particular fuel. We were going up to New Hampshire, and that was our.
You were getting the pump gas.
Last year.
Yeah.
But
New Hampshire, not Mass, yeah.
Now we've got this, which I think is going to be the answer.
Are these brand new seals?
Yeah, they were brand new.
Is that what they look like originally?
Yeah, well, no, these.
No, it's different.
They were exactly the same size.
Guys, this has cost us tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, the bike behind us is shipping out today, and Jeff just pulled the bank of carbs completely apart because the O-rings.
Yeah, the little crossover fuel tubes between the carburetor got O-rings on each end of them. They leak. You got to pop the carburetors off the brackets, pop them apart. It's a big job.
We have an RD350 that's in that shipped out 2 weeks ago because of petcock failure and the carb seeping. This is because of the VP110 guys. I don't know what to say. This has been.
It's not about money. It's not about the cost of the fuel. I don't give a shit what the fuel costs. We're not burning that much fuel in these vintage bikes. What I care about is the longevity of the carb. So pump gas is a no-go. Forget about it. It's going to clog your jets for sure, and it's also going to cause moisture and rust in the gas tank. So what we recommend is the VP small engine fuel for sure. We've used it in the past. There were some shortages issues because of supply and demand. It's available now. That's what we're going to use. If anybody else, if you have a fuel that you'd recommend, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Put a comment on there. Jeff, the pump gas that you were getting from New Hampshire, what was that?
That was Sunoco non-ethanol 93 octane.
Which is perfect. That's really what we need. But it's not available in Connecticut.
No, we had to go.
And it's probably, I don't know how, it's probably not legal to transport it over state lines, you know?
I was going up to New Hampshire because I lived in Orange, so I was just going up to New Hampshire. I had 2 big 55-gallon barrels in the back of my pickup. Probably not legal to transport a bomb in the back of your truck.
So the cost to restore these carburetors, if you pay any professional shop like ours, you're looking at a minimum 6 hours of labor to pull 4 carbs and completely dismantle them. It could be 10, 12, or more hours So you're talking over $1,000 to have it done properly and clean out your tank and your fuel pack
And then
ox
you double that when you do it, and then it needs to be taken apart
twice.
the week after. That's what happened with this bike. We just went through it, and now it's shipping out today. Luckily, we caught it. We saw dripping from the bank.
Yeah.
And now Jeff had to take it apart a second time.
How long did you have those seals in the gas?
Just since yesterday.
So overnight, it can totally destroy your carb.
They
basically,
will be hemorrhaging.
There'll be when Kyle turned the gas on upstairs and he was pulling this thing out, gas was pouring out of the back of it. It wasn't leaking; it was pouring out of it. I had to get a towel and wipe it up off the floor. So that's in the case of 1 week. Now, if you run pump gas, you're guaranteed 3 to 6 months. They're going to be totally clogged. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You got to use a good fuel. You can't use ethanol pump gas. You can use ethanol-free pump gas or something designed for small engines like VP small
We
engine.
could have
fuel.
used 110 in this if we drained the bowls after.
Who drains the bowls in their 4-cylinder carb every time?
Even if you turn the gas off, you'll run for 5 miles before. Not that long, but
A couple miles anyways.
Yeah.
A mile anyways.
yeah.
No, I mean, so when you're riding this bike all summer, it's okay to put pump gas in it because you're using it tank after tank. But when you store it for the winter, you want to put some, like I use preservative, like a chainsaw premix oil because it has preservatives in it. I found that to be the best fuel stable. But where we have bikes in the museum for months on end, we cannot store the bikes with ethanol gas in them, so. But I think we have the answer now.
For now, we do. That, hopefully, the reliability of that fuel stays consistent and it's available. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, and God bless America.